Yeah, Christ in his person is external, but the Spirit given is internal.
Wow.
And there's nothing closer than him being on the inside.
Amen.
As a matter of fact, when Paul's in Colossians and he's saying this is the mystery, Christ on the inside by the Spirit. So we know that the Spirit of Christ living on the inside has placed inside of us a unlimited contact with him. And a river of life, as Jesus says, rivers will come forth from the inside of you. And it says, when he stood up at the feast in John 7, he says, if anyone is thirsty, let him come to me and drink. Amen. Then it says, this he spoke of the Spirit, which had not yet been given because Jesus had not yet ascended. So he ascended so that he might send the Holy Spirit to be on the inside, who is likened to rivers on the inside of us, flowing, gushing over and over. And we were just saying what our lives would look like without the Spirit. Oh my goodness.
We would be empty.
Empty, not satisfied, dead. We'd have no power over sin.
No.
It would literally be a life of trying so hard to do what we know is right, but unable to do it. I think Adam's curse is really having to live life before God without life from God. So the last Adam comes as a life-giving Spirit. And he brings into us the ability, the new desires, so that now he performs everything himself. And this is the wonder of the new covenant, which is matchless and very difficult for us to understand. As a matter of fact, that's why I believe Jesus said, I tell you the truth, before he even starts to say it's expedient for you, it's to your advantage, it's better that I go away. He says, I tell you the truth, because he knows they're going to have a hard time actually believing what he's about to say. He's like, listen, what I'm about to tell you here in a second is so difficult for you to understand. You have to hear me in this way. I'm telling you the truth. You may not think I am, but I am. It's better that I leave. And I can tell their hearts, would probably be sorrowful, thinking he's going to leave us. I mean, it would be.
And they were sorrowful when he died.
He even says in the next one, it says, he says, you're sad because I told you that I'm leaving you. But then he's trying to tell them, he's like, what you have with me standing directly in front of you, looking in your physical eyes, is far inferior to what's coming. I'm going to put my Spirit on the inside of you and fulfill the thing myself. And this is what Ezekiel 36:26 is telling us about this wonderful day that would come one day when God would put his Spirit in the hearts of men and change their desires and cause them to walk in his ways. And he would perform everything himself and get all the glory because it's done perfectly.
Yeah, because it's through him, right? We can't do anything on our own strength, right?
So good.
And so he puts his Spirit in us to get glory himself and to bring us into life with him. We see it all the way through the Old Testament, right? Like God would put his Spirit upon somebody. He would put it upon Saul or on David. There were different times through Gideon where the Spirit of God would come upon, but never within, right? But everything changed with Jesus. Everything changed. Like he made a way for the presence of God to come dwell within and not just be external, right?
Yes, I agree. There's a book by Dr. Gordon Fee. It's called Paul, the People, and the Spirit of God. And he goes through all Paul's letters and shows you how the core of everything Paul is saying is the presence of God in your midst. And so each letter, each correction, he points everybody back to the Spirit marks the return of the lost presence of God. And so if we can see that attentiveness to his Spirit is everything, then we're free. We're free from the striving. We're free from the human efforts. We're free from all this longing to please God without the ability to do it, because the Spirit steps in as life. Martin Luther said, if God created the world out of nothing, then I must become nothing for God to create anything out of me. Which shows us, here's our key, and this is the human problem, is that man wants a part of everything. He's like, what's my part? And God is saying, no, let me do it all. And so it's very difficult for us to really understand what faith is, because we want to mix faith with us. But they don't mix. As a matter of fact, in Galatians, Paul's harsh. And he says, listen, if you seek to add to what Jesus has done, you sever yourself off from it. But if you will give yourself to what Jesus has done, his Spirit will then come in and perform the thing himself.